Well, the first time I remember shearing sheep would have been when I was maybe 6, 7 years old, because my dad, these originally started with my dad's sheep, okay? And Andrew was the only one that helped him after he wasn't able to do it, so he kind of left the sheep to him. So I remember shearing sheep when I was 6, 7 years old. And then they used to do it not physically. They didn't have electricity, so they used to do it with the hand shears. Well, it'd take a long time. You figure now electricity has made it almost like getting a haircut at the barber shop, okay? My dad used to have always run from 150 to 200 head of sheep, right around 400, 350, somewhere around there. They came from that generation, which was in, well, I was born in 1938, so this, my dad just started a sheep farm in the 30s. He started as helping his uncle with the sheep, as a sheep herder, and also helping them lamb and stuff like that. And his uncle gave him lambs that the mothers couldn't take care of. You know, we call them what we call penco lambs, or orphan lambs. And that's how he started his herd. This was all sheep country. They would start, say, from the gorge, Rio Grande. Most of it was in New Mexico and Colorado, in the Taos County. They'd start from the gorge. They'd winter there, and then in the spring they would move up a little higher country, and then finally they landed up clear up to the Continental Divide. And that was, they run thousands of sheep. I mean, we had big, and my dad was one of those that used to go, and he tells us stories that from the, when they'd start, they wouldn't shear in the corral, they would shear like in, at Osier and that, and then they'd put them on the train, which is our steam train right now, you know, that tour train. They'd put the wool and ship it into Denver. There's where they would market their. And then coming back from the Continental Divide, the Blue Lake and all this area there, they would ship their lambs from Osier. There's still a corral there.
Okay.
And they kind of rehabbed it. There's where they would load their lambs on box cars and ship them to Denver. Well, yeah, I mean, that's their main income. They would sell the wool, and then they would sell their lambs. Right now, we probably get a $1.50 to $3 a pound. You know, it varies. At one time, we were getting incentive for wool because they would bring so much wool from Australia and from the foreign countries.
Yeah.
Mainly, and today the wool is a little better. It's around $3 a pound. Oh, we don't have the numbers now. In fact, Andrew, and I'm going to say Andrew, my son, is the only one that runs sheep in that area now. Because lack of labor, it's very hard to get sheep herders. At that time, you know, that was their profession. And the younger generation, they don't want to go out and stay all by themselves over there. Now, if you had a beautiful woman with you, they might stay longer, but I mean, no, I'm just being facetious, but that's one of the main reasons. And then, like right now, when he's sick today, Cubano, he will usually be helping us here. We call him Cubano, but his name is Victor Hernandez. He is one of the refugees that my dad hired when of Castro, and he came from Cuba on what they call the boat people. I'm sure you guys have heard about the boat people. All I know is my dad hired him, I'm going to say in late 80s, okay? In the 80s, I'm guessing now. But he's been with my dad, my dad now, Andrew, for that long a period. And he's the only family that he really has. In fact, I committed myself to my dad because he considered him another member of the family. And he told me that I was supposed to take care of Cubano as long as, and I committed to my dad in his dying bed. I mean, he was about ready to go, and he wanted to make sure that we took care of him. Sheep herder, he doesn't speak a word of English. He is, I'm going to guess, doesn't know how to count. He doesn't know how to, so he's kind of another child that we take care of, you know, but he's, but if he's missing one sheep, he'll know. He has what he calls las marcas, which mean marks. So he's the one black face, or one with the bell on him, you know, or that. And if he notices that one of those sheep is missing, he knows that he has a few sheep that might stray off. So that's how. But he doesn't know how to count. He just got back from San Antonio Mountain because we have a winter range in the San Antonio Mountain, both sides of the road there. He did that, and then first of May we'll go back to San Antonio Mountain, and then from there we'll go up to what we call Las Cruces Basin, which is right now is the wilderness area. It's in by Apache Canyon. It's beautiful country. And there's where we summer. We go in 1st of May till the 15th of June in San Antonio Mountain. Yeah. Then we have from the 16th of June we go into that country. We come down to here, and we breed them for lambs and all that, and then we go back. We quit. No, well, we go the 1st of September, we breed them, and then we 1st of November we go back to the plateau till the 1st of February. They lamb in March. We're going to start lambing here probably in a week or two. Sheep is much faster than cows, so we'll have them in 30 days. We'll have about 90% lambed out. Oh, we get about, I'm going to say about 1/3 of them will have twins or better. Yeah, it's typical. We usually have a lamb crop of about 110, 120%. We lose some. Some don't have enough milk to take care of twins, so we have to take a lamb away from them so the other one will survive. We always leave about 10% for replacements, 10 to 15%. Right now we market them. Right now a guy from Center buys them from us, and he fattens them, and then he marks them like in Greeley or those slaughterhouse there in Greeley. They truck them. Yeah. Everything's trucked. Anymore, the railroad isn't very, it's not fast enough. There's some in Center and in Monte Vista that I know of that the valley has, I'm going to guess, about 5,000 head of sheep right now. There was some farmers that run as many as 3,000 to 5,000. They had like 3 or 4 bands of sheep. Right now, the biggest is in western Colorado, and Wyoming is the one that has most of the sheep right now. You know, that of them are on Wyoming right now. It's labor intensive. I mean, you figure the sheep require a lot of attention. Well, when they start lambing, you got to make sure, you know, they're small, and you got to make sure that they drink milk off the mother. And normally, if they can't get their nipples or all that, you have to milk the sheep and give them the mother's milk, because young animals, even cows or calves or all of that, they have to drink the milk of the mother for the reason of they call it the cholesterol type milk that they produce keeps them from getting diseases, or it's antibiotic milk is what it is. So you want to give them their mother's milk as soon as possible so they don't get pneumonia and other diseases from the animals. So it's a lot of labor intensity. While the cows are a little different, they could have a calf out there and they'll usually take care of them. But and the cow will stay with that animal, while the sheep, if they find feed, they'll leave them and take off, and then they can't find them. The lamb wanders off. So that's how come we have pens that we put them in as they're born. So it's a lot of work. The next month, Andrew and his son will probably spend 15, 18 hours a day with the animals, and they'll take turns while they're lambing. So it's very hard. And then, of course, labor. Sheep herders don't want to do sheep herding anymore. We used to, the penco lambs, and my mom used to doctor them when they got sick and say they got a little bit cold or whatever it is. He'd take them and put them in the kitchen and feed them milk. And we used to have goats to milk the goats to feed the penco lambs, because the goat milk is very rich and it's very goat milk is very good for the lambs. I never left the valley terminally. I worked out of the valley. I started investing as a young man. My dad couldn't support a big family, and I was the oldest, so I had to leave to work. I went in the service, and then after that I worked for Martin Marietta in Denver and worked. I put 30 years with the telephone company. But all the time, my wife and I accumulated property. Like, for example, this property here, we just bought it from my brother. My dad had left this property to my brother, and Andrew just bought right where we're at today. So we've accumulated property by buying with people that moved away from here. Oh, I think I've been in Antonito for 77 years now, and it's changed very little. We get a bad rap in Antonito, but we are very, very clannish. We're very, we'll talk about each other, but don't anybody else talk about you, okay? We're very, very close when it comes to cultural and stuff like that. That's the way our fathers and grandfathers survived, because they were when they had to cut hay or put up hay, the whole community would get together and help them. And like I live 2 miles west from here, and I remember that my dad always had sheep and cows, and not very many cows, but he used to have milk cows. The whole community would get milk, and they would make butter, but when my dad needed help, they'd all get together and help him. And that's how they survived the Depression. You see all of these guys that are helping right now, they're all volunteers. They're not, we don't hire them, they just come and help them because they want to help. See, money to my people is secondary, is the way I look at it. As long as we had enough to eat and a place to stay, we were happy. You can't live without money, but at the same time, to me, it's not important. Could any of us survive without water? These animals? Nothing. That's life. Water is our life. You can last weeks without food, but I bet you can't survive without water maybe a week. You'll dehydrate so fast that you'll die. So water, and clean water. Look at all the money that we spend on purifying water today. And in old times, they didn't have to purify them because we didn't have all the... You go to some of the cities and I can't even drink their water because of the chlorine. Go to my house and over here, and it's just natural water. And then chlorine is, it's to purify the water. You know how chlorine is. But But it's because people just don't take care of the water. I mean, they take it for granted. Water has become a commodity that is almost so scarce that in the 30s and the 40s we had to do a compact of Colorado water. The Rio Grande, for example, we had to let so much water go into New Mexico and to Texas, and so it's kind of diminished our irrigation. Now you've probably heard the aquifer is going down, so we have to bring that back up, so we're having to shut down of our wells and stuff like that. So it's water today is probably the most, it's life. I can't explain it.